Robotics founder, CEO, right? So for people that aren't familiar, just give us a brief overview of SVT.
We're the data integration layer between host systems and robots, right? If you buy a robot, drop it on the shipping dock or on the receiving dock, you can't make it do anything without data.
Right.
And data, there's like floor sweepers and such, but anything that's involving picking or business transactions requires some form of integration, either ingesting data, using it, or transmitting data. And I'd even argue the things that don't require integration, should they provide data that could be harnessed.
Interesting. Yeah. And I think, data is becoming more and more of a topic. The more people I talk to, whether it's through the podcast or just talking at shows like this and other shows too, data is becoming, it's always been there, right? But people, I think, are becoming more aware of it as well. So I'm curious, you see a lot of things. You guys have a ton of partners, right? A lot of companies that you're able to create these integrations with through the soft bots and everything. So what are you seeing in the industry right now that's kind of catching your attention or that you think is really important to call out?
The big elephant is, of course, AI.
Yeah.
Right? Where's it going to go? What's it going to do? Haven't seen a whole lot of use at scale yet in the enterprise. There's the Gen AI aspect. I think companies are still trying to figure out how to apply it and make it useful. A lot of it comes down to clean data,
right,
and being able to believe the answer. I think that's really the question, is can you believe the answer? AI will confidently answer questions incorrectly.
Yeah.
Very quickly and at scale if you're not careful. So we're thinking a lot about this problem. Our mission has been about data, and we believe that the T in SVT is transparency, right? Like the black boxes are one of the worst data thefts that everyone knows about. It's like you paid for the software, but you get none of the data. You can't see it.
Yeah.
And we're trying to make that way more transparent, because most of the data out there is, I call it digital pollution. It's data that never gets converted into information.
Yeah.
Sitting in data centers, literally warming the earth.
Yeah.
Right? It's, I'm sure Azure's super stoked to have it, right? But it would be really interesting to know what percentage of the data actually is converted into information and how useful that information is. And how useful is the information is relative to time, right? It could be useful, but is it relevant now? Or is it too late, right?
Yeah.
So there's a latency of usefulness that I think is getting more and more interesting. And AI will short circuit a lot of it, but I think we have to be very careful. I believe it's going to be more point applications until people get a feeling for whether or not we can broadly scale it outside of a single point.
Yeah, interesting, and I like that term, the digital pollution. Yeah, I think that's interesting. So around that, what are you, some of the operators, warehouse companies, 3PLs that you guys work with? What are their thoughts around AI? Are they into it? They're skeptical, embracing, holding off?
I would classify, your small and mid-market. Right now they're probably not so focused on it.
Yeah.
Large enterprise and mega enterprise are probably two different things. I'd say the mega enterprises, they're really thinking about it. But I'd say even the large enterprise, they've got their hands full with a lot of stuff right now. There's a lot of changing economic climate, so there's a lot of people kind of waiting and seeing. But the larger enterprise companies are really thinking about it, and they're thinking about data hygiene, because data hygiene is essential to correct answers.
Data hygiene. I think that's the first time I heard hygiene used around data. Obviously I heard clean data, but that data hygiene is nice, definitely. So, I think it's a very interesting time, right? We see here, we come to a show like ProMat, and obviously there's tons of new technology, tons of interesting things to look at, but behind that is kind of all that data that's driving a lot of it, right? Sure. So now you guys just launched a new portal, right, for the SoftBot platform. So tell us a little bit about that.
It's all about data, right? So
I had a feeling.
yeah, I mean, a big surprise. That was a big lead-in. So operators and IT professionals, what they care about is the business is running, right? And right now, it is, with all the data we have, it's amazingly difficult to glean information. And a lot of that information sits between realms. And realms, I mean, inside of, people think about robots and WMSs, these are applications. But really, they're part of a technology ecosystem, which includes servers and Wi-Fi network, right? All these things have to work in concert. And when you are doing an investigation of why something is down, you have to check all these things individually, and it's not concentrated in one view. And so the problem with that is that you can only have so many monitors on your desk, right? First of all, you can have only so many screens. Very difficult for the brain to connect the dots when these things are in disparate places.
Right.
But when they're brought together and synthesized, then you can come to conclusions way faster. And that's been a priority for us. A lot of people know us for rapid integration, easy integration, but that's really just a start. The real benefit is what makes it easy for integration is actually how we build our domain models, which basically decide how the data is structured. Well, the first step in harnessing that is actually making it so when a facility has an error, it comes back up really quickly. When there's a problem, the operator will say warehouse is not working. That's the that's the ticket. And so what happens is the phone tree gets called around of every vendor who's touching it to include internal IT. And the first answer, rubber stamp, is not our fault, call X, right? And that will go on for an hour.
Takes time, yeah.
And in the meantime, operators are getting desperate. They just start moving stuff and getting data out of sync, right? And things get worse and worse with time. And so our data will actually tell you almost immediately what vendor is got the problem, and it will give the entire payload and timestamp and travel and logic tree of what happened, so that you can rapidly send that to the company that needs to get their portion up. And also, we look at we're able to measure latency of messaging across the entire stack. And so now we can see is like, well, it took this much time to get here. Like the overall time was this. Yeah. Because that's what everyone knows. It's like, it took 2 seconds. Why is it taking 2 seconds? It's like, well, this is 50 milliseconds, 20 milliseconds. And then there's like 1.9 seconds, right? Like is in one place. And that allows you to like get after it really quickly. And then the next phase for us, of course, is, all right, like, can we predict this? Can we gain an understanding of the data using something to crawl through the data and provide these insights on why things are happening or when they happen, so on and so forth.
Interesting. So kind of taking that visibility to the next level, right? So you kind of started, like you said, with the integration, right, with the softbot platforms and being able to connect those systems, right? And now how do we get, that visibility into like one single kind of pane of glass, right? And then understand, long term, like, oh, where might we have a failure, right? Or where might something go wrong? Let's get ahead of that. Let's be proactive. And I think that's really great. And you said I could take an hour to call around to those different vendors, which, the normal person might be like, oh, an hour, what's that? But in operations, an hour is like a lifetime sometimes, right? I mean, there's a lot of things that can be delayed, a lot of things that can be held up because of that hour in time, even just a couple of seconds, right? So very interesting that you dove into that, and I think it's really smart to be able to take that visibility to the next level, and like you said, it's all about the data here. So very interesting to talk to you, always, AK, and really great to hear about the updates with SVT. If people want to learn more, what's the best way to do that?
Come by the booth, and you can always send me a LinkedIn message, or the guys on my team, Terry Krantz, Brian Shuckle, Jim Hodson. They're all available on LinkedIn, and or you can fill out contact information on the website, and we'll give you a call.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you for stopping by today, and hope you enjoy the rest of the show this week.
All right, Kevin. Thanks a lot.
All right. Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning into today's video here on our YouTube channel, the New Warehouse Podcast, and I appreciate you tuning in. If you liked what you saw, make sure you subscribe to our channel, and if you like this video in particular, make sure you like it as well. And if you want to get this great t-shirt that you see in the video behind me, Warehouses Are Sexy, head to warehousesAreSexy.com and get your own.